بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم نحمده ونصلي ونسلم على رسوله الكريم وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. Dear viewers, welcome back. How many times have you heard this? It's just not fair. Everyone's unfair to me. They all like that person more. It was just that teacher's unfair. That coach is unfair. The world is unfair. Nobody likes me. Everyone's against me. How many times have you heard that? In different words, in different situations. Why do we hear that? Why is this sense in children of perceived injustice? What is perceived injustice? And how should we better understand children and their perspective? That's what we will address in today's video. And then in the next video, we will address how to speak to the child, how to address their issue, and make sure that we can respond properly to perceived injustice and teach them the skills of resilience and perspective so that they can become more complete human beings, more complete Muslims, and bring positive change in the world. So, first of all, understand that for a child, fairness is a huge thing. It means a lot more the smaller you are, the younger you are, than when you grow up, because you are dependent on the world around you so much. And that is why when they perceive, they feel that they have been dealt with unjustly or unfairly, their response is very strong. It's very emotional. It really hurts them. And because of the hurt they feel, it impacts their emotions, it impacts their social well-being. It's something we have to address. It's not something that you can dismiss. So what is perceived injustice? Basically, when the child feels that they have been treated unfairly or unjustly, even though if you look at the situation objectively, they were treated equitably or equally or fairly and justly by the adult or the authority that was in charge. Sometimes the authority in charge does make a mistake, but it's unintentional. It's not something that they look so deeply into. For example, they might be distributing, something to eat, maybe fruit or something, for example, right? And your child gets the smaller one, slightly smaller. Now the teacher is not, or maybe you did it yourself to your children or your nephews and nieces, and you were distributing candy or something, and one piece ended up a little smaller than the others, or maybe a little, chipped from the side or something like that. And that's where it starts, that it's all unfair. Everyone's against me. It needs to be addressed, right? And because if we don't address it, then these are unresolved feelings of injustice. This can develop further into mistrust and into reduced confidence, reduced self-confidence, and or confidence in the world around them. And it can even turn into behavioral issues. So then when it starts building up, they say, okay, since the world is unfair to me, I will be unfair to the world. And they will not respect law or justice, etc. And it can spiral out of control. So the worst thing you can do, of course, like we've mentioned before, is to dismiss in the crisis situation. We talked about this in the crisis video. If you haven't seen the crisis video, go back to it. Do watch it, because this is related to that. For a child now, when they feel perceived injustice, it's a crisis for them. So basically, you will handle it like a crisis. And the first thing was that to acknowledge and validate how they feel. You don't agree with them, but that's not what you're going to say to them right now. So say, oh, is that how it makes you feel? Okay, let's see what we can do about it. So dismissing them is not going to help. Okay, so I see that you're really upset about this. What do you have to say? What do you think happened? So validating their feelings is important, even if you disagree with their perspective. Then what leads to this? So remember, the younger the child, the more difficult it will be, because the older they understand how the world around them works. Sometimes things go in your favor, sometimes they don't go in your favor, etc. But little children have the world in black and white. And you know why? Another reason is because they just came out of their homes where they were given a lot of love, a lot of affection. And because they were probably the youngest in the household, they feel that they feel maybe entitled that that others should also treat me, with more affection than I feel that I got. So now they can't elaborate on this. They can't articulate this. So don't expect that. But we have to understand why they're feeling the way they are feeling. And what triggers this perceived injustice is events like sharing. So they had to share something and they feel the other one got it for longer than I did. So she got to play with the doll more than I got to play with the doll. Now, sometimes you can't even quantify that because they don't even understand time. You see, they just feel that the doll was with, even though the adult divided the time exactly, maybe 10 minutes, but they will still feel that they got the doll for the shorter amount of time. Favoritism, the teacher likes him more than she likes me, etc. Especially this happens a lot in sports. We're having our sports fest. So some of the, students, they go like, they accuse the referee or the judge or the coach of favoring the other team or favoring the other player. So this is going to happen, and they feel they were done wrong, and because there's a prize to be attained, or there's bragging rights, or there's respect of being the winner that is at stake. That's why they feel that they need to fight it. Grading, that I was given a wrong grade, the wrong marks, the teacher graded me unfairly, etc. It might be about discipline, that I got in trouble when I didn't even do anything, and she was the one who caused the issue. I was only trying to help, etc., etc. So these scenarios will be common. Now, the other extreme that some parents or some teachers or mentors do is they unduly favor, like I said, the helicopter parents. They will suddenly feel that, God Almighty, I have to resolve this issue because the world is unfair to my child. So helicopter parents end up acting even more immature than their child, because they take their child's word directly, and because the child knows I can just complain and I'll get immediate results. So they are the ones who deal with it in the wrong way. There's some common misunderstandings about perceived injustice. One thing is that, you see, emotions can change a child's perspective. So at the moment, they might not be able to see, even if you try to explain, it's not going to work. They have to calm down. They have to take control of their emotions before you actually get to explain what's going on in the world around them. Minor incidents might seem very significant. The world sees it as, oh, that's nothing. Come on, what's the big deal? But to the child, it is a big deal. So to bring them down to that, it's not a big deal. It takes steps. And so crisis intervention steps, once again, go back to that video. It helps. Incomplete information. Children might not understand the whole context of what's going on, why a decision was made. So the information has to sometimes be provided to them. They still might not agree. They still might just, be in a huff. But at that point, you have to say, look, that's how the world is. And you have to understand that things are not always going to be according to your perspective. They compare themselves with their peers a lot, like I said, with sports and with competitions. So that leads to unfairness. Even if the treatment was equitable, like I told you before, they might get the same thing, but they feel why did I get picked last, for example, these sort of things. So we don't invalidate the feelings, but we have to address the issue. Now we will, in our next video, we will look into how we can address the issue besides our crisis intervention. So please do follow up with the next video. Subscribe to the channel, like the video, and share it with others as well. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.